That's okay. I mean, it's a situation that was.
Response. The Hearts supporters felt as though their team had given up.
Ladies and gentlemen, tonight we witness the end of Heart of Midlothian Football Club. I think it is time we all face the truth. We have to wrap up 146 years of history.
You did that maths right before we came on, didn't you?
I absolutely did. Thank you for breaking my flow. But we have to raise Tynecastle to the ground. We have to fire every one of the players. We have to ban the colour maroon from being mentioned in polite society again. We have to flog Lee McCulloch in the public square, is what I would be saying if I was a more reactionary gentleman. What do you think, Robert Borthwick?
Oh, I think all those things seem reasonable.
Oh, right. Oh, okay.
Yeah. As long as we make sure that we get Lee McCulloch's secrets on his white teeth before we flog him. There's been a lot of harsh reactions online to Hearts losing their first game since March. I know there was a big gap in the middle there, but Hearts losing their first game since March.
Facts is facts, Robert. Facts is facts.
Facts is facts. It was fucking shite, wasn't it? But let's not completely lose our minds. Not completely. We've got two huge games against. Checks notes. Alloa Athletic, the Wasps of the Indo Drill.
Very large games.
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's lose about 70% of our minds.
Okay.
Hearts were utter pish.
Yeah, fucking rubbish.
Utter pish. We spent the first half sort of going, Dunfermline, they've got an interesting strategy here. They're really pressing Hearts, so Hearts being the bigger, the better, the more confident team, or just let them come on to us, let them tire, and then Hearts will hit them. Then they'll hit them. Any minute now they're going to hit. Watch out for them hitting them. It's going to...
Popescu should have hit them hard, but didn't.
No, well, we'll come on to him.
Yeah.
Because my proposed structure for this week's episode is the hierarchy of pish.
Good.
And we're going to start right at the top of the pyramid with Ollie Lee, the most pish Hearts player on the pitch this evening, Robert.
On the night, yes, absolutely. He always looks like he's running into a particularly strong breeze.
He's just checking his aerodynamics.
Yes, exactly. He's so slow. And up against what was a really mobile and very impressive Dunfermline midfield of McInroy, Turner and Stephen Whittaker. He was really good. It just didn't work. Both him and Halliday weren't mobile enough, which meant that Dunfermline were pressing really effectively against both of them and weren't allowing any balls through. And Ollie Lee was just... He was rubbish tonight. He was breezed past a bunch of times by their midfield. He didn't offer us anything really going forward. I can't remember too many incisive passes that he made. I can't remember any good passes that he made. And he was on the pitch for far too long. I think he came off in like the 70th or 75th minute in the end. He was really, really poor, and we just needed someone a bit more mobile in there than him. Andy Irving is a little bit more mobile than Ollie Lee, and I think that would have been a much better shout for today.
Well, absolutely. I think with a player like Lee, if you're feeling you're most generous towards a player like that, you're saying, well, the main problems today were defensively. It was him losing Don Thomas for the first goal that really led to that happening. He just could not track Thomas's run laterally across the face of the box.
It happened 2 minutes before with McInroy as well. The exact same run.
Exactly. Now McInroy especially is a big, powerful laddie, but Ollie Lee's in that position, and that's a job that he's got to do. But normally you would say, well, if you're getting those defensive deficiencies, it's worth it for the offense that he provides. Why am I doing that again? The offence?
No,
the attacking.
No, that's not right either. That's more wrong.
He did provide offence to me, though. The attacking qualities that he brings, and apart from a few nice balls up the right-hand channel, he did that about 3 times, and you pointed out during the game that it was our only attacking outlet, so why didn't it happen 20 times?
I don't know. See, in my head right now, it's just a sort of placement card saying "scene missing" because I've completely forgotten. I don't even know if it was Ollie Lee playing those balls. I think it was mostly Michael Smith playing the ball in the channel. Yeah, he was particularly yad, and he's not shown up in a few games now this season. He was very, he was decent against Hibs, which is a game that you want him to be decent in, provided a great assist and showed what he can do. But tonight it should have been obvious from the first 45 minutes that he was not the answer to any questions that we might have. It was really poor.
When we were up against such a physical and driving midfield in Dunfermline, he was not there. And what I was going to go on to say about the balls being provided is that Irving came on, and not only was he more mobile, he provided the corner from which Hearts scored their goal, and it was an absolutely cracking corner.
Yeah.
So, mystifying why that change didn't happen earlier. I certainly was crying out for it much earlier than it happened. But I think the crime of Ollie Lee being there was his tandem with Andy Halliday, who is next in the hierarchy of Pish, who, it is early days in his Hearts career. He didn't have a pre-season, but so far he's offered nothing.
I think they're, Lee and Halliday, we should maybe have the hierarchy of Pish and have them as a partnership. Because the partnership does not work. It doesn't work. As I was saying, maybe for 45 minutes against Hibs when they both played through the middle, it was all right because Hibs were particularly anemic in that game. But it just when he loses the ball, he's going to make a foul, which is really frustrating. He's a central midfield Jamie Brandon. He does exactly that every time as well. Again, he offers plenty in endeavour and effort, and he is quicker across the ground, which obviously we can't say for the breeze-ridden Ollie Lee. But Halliday is certainly better at that. But he just misplaces passes too often. And I know you've got to caveat it with the fact that before he came to Hearts, and he has played a lot of football since coming in, he hadn't played any football since February before that. But as a partnership, him and Lee just doesn't work. They don't understand each other's game, which means that we're left wide open sometimes because they've both pushed and they've both pressed when one needs to stay back and one needs to go, and it just doesn't work. There's no cohesion there whatsoever, which means that the game bypasses our midfield so often. We saw it against Arbroath as well when they both played in the middle. It didn't work, and he's tried it again today. And I know we miss Haring, and we've missed Haring for over a year and a half. Mm-hmm. So that should be addressed by now, and that should be something. A midfield partnership is something that we should have by now, but we just don't. I'd like to see Halliday and Irving tried out, because I think that might work on paper.
It's got a better chance of working than Halliday and Lee, certainly.
Yeah, and a better chance of working than Lee and Irving, which we've also seen, which also didn't work this season.
What you've just said about Halliday there is indicative of a larger problem with Hearts right now, is that we're relying on a lot of players that are working their way back to fitness. We've got Naismith, we've got Halliday, Boyce to a certain extent, Walker is always, he's in a perpetual state of working his way back to fitness as another injury will come in and rob him of fitness. I think Halkett's fit, but you could possibly make the argument about Halkett.
I don't see any reason why he wouldn't. I think he is fully fit. He's not been injured in ages.
Fair play then. Haring obviously isn't playing as much, but we are trying to nurse him back. Now, the argument is there that if we get all these top players back to fitness and working together and get minutes in their legs, then it will benefit the team further down the line. And I take that on board, that's fine. But doing that has cost us 3 points today, and if Dunfermline are actually this good, it might be 3 points that we can't easily afford to give up.
I don't think Dunfermline will keep this run going for a season. Put it that way. If we win our game in hand against Alloa Athletic, the Wasps of Indodrill, then we're back to within a point of them. And I think that over the course of the season, we will still win the league, and I think we'll still win it fairly comfortably. I don't think this is at any point panic stations that, oh my God, we fucked it, we're 5 games in. You know what I mean? So yeah. I don't think that this is going to be a crucial result in our season. But it's, regardless of players working their way back to fitness, we shouldn't be, in my opinion, we shouldn't be losing any games in this league.
No.
Dunfermline are flying, and they played that game like it was their cup final. They absolutely burst a gut, completely threw themselves into the game, and a deflection and some shite defending has properly cost us. But yeah, I don't think it's one we'll be ruining towards the end of the season, in my opinion.
Well, that is definitely in the spirit of the hierarchy of Pish, you reasonable bastards. But let's continue with our next player, which is Mihai Popescu.
Yeah.
But not necessarily for his defending, which he did fine. I do think you have a reasonable point that Dunfermline didn't exactly tear us to shreds.
No.
But Mihai Popescu certainly had the two best opportunities, other than the goal, to score.
I think he had the second and third best opportunities, but he should have scored both of them. And he just... I saw someone put on Twitter, Mihai Popescu is Christoph Berra, but he just plays it on the ground instead of through the air. He misplaces so many passes. He can be suspect defensively. He scares me a little bit. All things told, he should have scored twice. Easily should have scored twice. His attempted block for the goal is a weird one. He's not thrown himself at it. He's stood still and put his hands behind his back, meaning that he can't properly move when the shot comes in. He can't react to it.
Yeah.
Which was just bizarre, in my opinion. And yeah, just, I think it's this growing uncertainty over Popescu as the weeks go on that terrifies me a little bit.
It's fair to say, but I do think his main error for the first attempt that he hit off the bar was not realising that Liam Boyce was in a much better position to score than he was.
I have no doubt in my mind that Liam Boyce fucking screamed for that. I think he probably just thought, no, I'm going to do it instead. I don't think this, you can't pin any blame on Boyce, because as a striker he'd be thinking, this is mine, this is a goal. But Popescu rose early, he rose well as well, but he's at a weird angle. It's kind of almost behind him when he heads it, which means he's sort of like throwing the side of his head towards it instead of planting his forehead. The second one's just a really bad miss. He gets up above everyone and he doesn't head it down. That's just amateur.
Yeah, I mean the first one, he has a case to say that he's running onto it rather than Boyce, which is waiting for it to land on him, so he can generate power. But
Boyce was running onto it as well, man. The way the ball came in, Boyce was running onto it too.
Sure, but like you say, Popescu misjudges that running onto it, so he doesn't make clear contact with it. So the benefit of running onto it at speed is really lost. Whereas Boyce, mobile or static as he may be, is much better placed to place the ball into the net. And
then there was a third header, which Boyce was behind him again. Popescu put over, and you could hear it on the TV commentary. Boyce, like he screamed Boyce's, and then after the ball went out, he just screamed Boyce's again directly in Popescu's face. Massively frustrating. But then Liam Boyce, well, I'm sure we'll talk about his header. Not yet though, no, because there is another rung on the hierarchy to traverse, and that was one of the people who were attempting to put balls in for people to header, Mr. Freer. I don't want to disagree with your hierarchy. I would have put him above Popescu. I'm not here to mess with the hierarchy. Okay, just know that.
Sure,
I respect the hierarchy. I do. I respect you, but you're wrong.
Well, that was a rollercoaster of emotions, but please lay into Stephen Freer instead of me.
Stephen Freer.
What's his name?
Stephen
Freer's a director.
He's that forgettable.
Elliot Freer, I do beg your pardon. Yeah, Stephen Frears is a noted director.
Cool, good. I hope he's well. He could probably be a fucking better crossing than Elliot. So, Elliot Freer. I don't think he's very good. He can't really... So a huge thing about his success at Motherwell was the fact he could cross a ball. I don't think he put in a single good cross at all tonight. He, for a winger, was caught offside way too many times. He doesn't really offer much tracking back. He doesn't really press. He doesn't look like he's going to score a goal at any stage.
He turns a really disturbing shade of red whenever he does any physical exertion whatsoever.
Yeah, that was weird, eh? Maybe it was just the camera. Let's give him the benefit of the doubt on the whole radiation thing.
Do you think his skin's made of the same material as David Marshall's Scotland jersey
I think it might be. He's naturally orange, but he comes across pink. And that's Lee McCulloch. So Elliot Freer, I meant his fake tan, man. Come on.
No, it's good. It's good.
Yeah,
keep going.
It's good content.
Don't draw attention to it.
Nope. Elliot Freer is is not filling me with any joy whatsoever. We really missed Ginnelly as our proper winger. Jordan Roberts, I'm not sure about him either. But Elliot Freer, that's a couple of away games now, Arbroath and tonight, where he's just not offered us anything. Not even really an out ball.
Yeah.
He just doesn't offer us anything, which is bad for a winger.
I mean, it sure is.
You like your wingers to offer something. He doesn't. Although, having said that, it was his very nice ball in for Popescu's miss. It was a very, very good ball in the middle.
That is true.
So there's that.
That's true. That's the thing that he did.
That's the thing.
But yeah, I mean, it indicates a larger problem with this squad, in that we do have the core players, like the big names that we're hanging our hat on, but a lot of the auxiliary players that we've recruited just aren't up to it, and Elliot Freer is very much in that category.
I think saying aren't up to it and putting a full stop after it may be harsh, but I think tonight they were not up to it at all.
Okay, well, this next gentleman is certainly not one of the auxiliary players, and he certainly should be up to it, but Stephen Naismith was not good tonight.
Pooey.
Very pooey.
Pooey. Yeah.
Misplacing was his game tonight.
Yeah, he was marked and corralled incredibly well by Stephen Whittaker, who basically stood on his toes for the first 45 minutes. We then moved him wide left
very briefly until...
And then he was wide right.
Yeah.
So we kind of moved him from width to width. And again, their fullbacks were pushing up on him. So obviously there was a call from the sidelines from Steve Crawford saying he doesn't like it when you basically sit inside him. And that's what they did. And he just didn't offer anything. He was trying wee passes around the corner, none of which worked. He didn't really offer a goal threat. When he was put through on goal, he tried to pass it when just hit it, man. You're one-on-one with Owen Fon Williams, who's not very good. Just hit it, or go round the keeper or something. It was such a weird decision. And for the first time, that's properly seeing a lack of confidence from Stephen Naismith.
Yeah.
That's what that screamed to me, is I'm not confident enough to score that goal. So he didn't do it. And that is just not something you expect from a guy like Stephen Naismith, who's been around the block numerous times and is a club captain. It just wasn't good enough. And there's been a couple of performances this season where he has underperformed. He is one that is working his way back to fitness, and like Jamie Walker, perennially working his way back to fitness. He showed against Hibs what he can do from a sort of deeper midfield position, but you need to play him through the middle for that to properly work. He is at best as a number 10 when he's got two strikers ahead of him. He's got two guys he can link up with and two guys he can split, making runs into the middle. We didn't offer him that today, and you don't see the best of Stephen Naismith when you don't give him that opportunity.
Absolutely. Now, what I would throw into this is, yes, he is probably still working his way up to fitness, but is he slowly getting to grips with the reality of what his actual top level fitness is these days? Is he getting used to the idea of what Stephen Naismith in 2020 actually is? And he's still not quite comfortable with where his body is, where his body's going to be. There was a case, there was a moment where I think we were defending, and there was a break of the ball, and Naismith was able to chase down the Dunfermline player. I'm probably going to cut this because I'm not remembering it.
Jordan Roberts chased down the Dunfermline player and it went through to Naismith, and that was his chance.
No, he was chasing after a Dunfermline player who was about to collect the ball, and he tried to go for a sprint and then sort of held back because I think he realised just as soon as he tried the sprint that he wasn't going to be able to catch the player. It's maybe a minor moment. It might just be his experience of knowing how far away the player was, or that it was just going to run through to the keeper harmlessly, or something. But it was just a little tell that his physical issues might be more than just regaining fitness.
Again, I think that's a wide comment to make.
Okay.
That's I'm not sure about that.
Okay.
Personally.
Okay.
I respect you. I respect the hierarchy of pish. I do. I do.
Okay.
But I think you're wrong. With respect.
The next gentleman on the hierarchy of pish, who has possibly the biggest excuse for not being completely sharp today, is Mr. Liam Boyce.
Yeah.
3 international games.
He didn't play in all of them.
But he certainly played at least 70 minutes
Played on Wednesday.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Which is not many days before Friday.
Yes, and then he got the ferry back. I mean, that's just by the by. I just think it's an interesting Interesting little fact.
Perhaps he gets seasick. Who knows?
Well, why did they take the ferry then?
It can be very choppy.
Why would they take the ferry if he gets seasick?
This is a big shrug. It's a big shrug I'm giving you. I don't know.
I thought you were justifying why he got the ferry. So maybe maybe he just fucking loves getting seasick. That's a kink for him.
That wasn't justifying the ferry. That was saying it might have been a factor in him playing more poorly today.
Right.
He
okay.
was still feeling the effects of choppy waters.
Yeah.
Have you ever been affected by choppy waters that made you miss a glaring sitting header after a lovely ball from the wide position by Jimmy Walker?
No, I haven't personally ever been through that.
Not in your career?
Not in my career, no.
Do you think Liam Boyce has?
I would say that potentially.
Okay, yeah.
It's
okay.
possible.
Right.
Today.
Any other theories on why he missed that glaring chance?
I've fucking no idea, man. It was really bad because he's got all the time in the world. Does he think there's a defender about to smash him? Does he think he's maybe offside? It's a tentative header, and if you watch it, it's a header. He didn't need to head. He actually could have gone at that with his foot. It's that low when it actually gets to him. He could have taken a touch. He had that much time. It's a shocking miss from a player that should be putting them in every single time he gets the chance, because that's a Liam Boyce that we know from his days at Ross County as a guy that would just gobble those chances up. And I think at that stage of the game, if we get a goal then, I'd fancy our chances to get at least a point out of the game.
Do we want to make any wild, potentially slanderous statements based on that miss and other misses or lost chances that he's had so far this season for Heart of Midlothian? Just something lacks of confidence or lacks of sharpness in front of goal, like
basically
not quite latching onto through balls, things like that.
We just need to keep winning penalties.
I mean, it's this season of as much as any season, that is a strategy.
Just keep winning penalties and we'll be fine. He'll get 20 a season.
I wish you were the manager.
There we go.
Not something I've said often. The next rung on the hierarchy of pitch is actually slightly adjacent to hierarchy. It is Craig Whiten, because he was ineffective, but I'm not sure it was entirely his fault.
No, I don't think so. We need to stop playing him on the wing. We just need to stop doing that. Do you know what? If our wingers aren't fit, play a different system. Because Craig Whiten on the wing, as much as he puts in a lot of effort, he can't play with his back to goal as such. He can't really play in that wide... Well, he can play in a wider position, but not as effectively as he can through the middle. Hearts are a much more dangerous prospect when he plays through the middle. And we didn't offer him that today. And it was a damn shame.
He just doesn't seem to have any idea where to position himself when he's playing there, because...
Well, he knows where to position himself. He places himself on the wing. But it's what he does when he gets the ball. He doesn't take it in the right positions.
Okay, sure, but for my money, like the rest of the team hardly ever find him in positions when he's on the wing. Like he's very rarely involved in play, and they're very rarely... Now, this could be a comment on the people passing the ball, but you know, when Ginnelly is on the pitch, they find him and he works his magic from the wing. When Whiten's on the pitch, either the ball doesn't arrive at his feet or it doesn't get played in front of him for him to run onto. He just doesn't seem to be part of the system when he's playing out there. Now, could be that the other players don't know how to pass to him the way that he likes, or it could be that he just doesn't know where to stand to be effective from that area of the pitch.
I think it's more likely the players are told pointedly, play it to the left, because Elliot Frear's actually a winger, debatable. And he's actually there to cross the ball in, so Whiten can make a run from that side. He can be more of a wide target man than a winger. He can be a wide forward. Whereas, you know, actually getting the ball and trying to move it into the box, we're always going to go down the left because we've got a player who can actually do that. Debatable in Elliot Frear.
Yeah.
And that's why we do it. You know, you see it when we play Ginnelly. You know, we get the ball to Ginnelly every single time because we know that he's going to get the ball into the box. And on the left-hand side, when Ginnelly's played, it's usually been Jordan Roberts, who's not a hit the byline winger either, or it's been Aidy White. Again, you know, playing wide left rather than playing as a winger. The entire point of this Hearts system should be get the ball in the box for Liam Boyce to score. Whiten is put out on the wing to be more of a facilitator. If there are moves coming down the right hand side, he can maybe hold it up a little bit, play in Michael Smith behind or Liam Boyce or whoever. But he's never going to be a winger, and he's never going to be played as a winger. I think he's he's on the right hand side, but he's not a winger.
It's an interesting argument. I like the argument, but the one thing I would say against it is that one thing we know is one of Craig Whiting's strengths is taking players on one-on-one and beating them off the dribble. Now, not necessarily at the speed that you would like for a winger, but it's something that we could try. Like getting the ball to him, even if he has like the fullback close to him, and seeing if he can beat him, create space that way, and then a cut back across the box for a runner from midfield. Might not work, but we could try it. We could just try it.
He's had moments on the right hand side in every game he's played on the right hand side, but they're like singular moments. He didn't have a moment like that today. Against Arbroath, he put in a great cross. In the first half, when he was moved out there when Ginnelly got taken off, when he was sort of playing slightly wider against Hibs, he got the better Doig a couple of times. So he does have the potential to make things happen, but not often enough to hang your hat on him and say you're our wide right guy, because it's just not him. All
of this, I think, is leading to our final rung on the hierarchy. But before we get there, there's one little diversion. Don't think we need to spend a lot of time on it. Roberts.
Yeah, I'm not wholly convinced by him as of yet. Another one who is working his way back to fitness. But I'm not 100% sure what he offers right now.
Exactly. It's early in his career. He's fighting through fitness issues, but I don't know what he's good at.
No, I'm not sure. He doesn't take his man on. Whenever he gets the ball out wide, 19 times out of 20, let's say, he'll turn back and find a Stephen Kingsley or a Andy Irving or whoever's inside him, and then stand there still and wait for the ball to come back to him. He's quite stagnant. He doesn't really move about.
Yeah, he's not very fast.
He puts himself about. I don't think he's particularly slow, but he puts himself about. He's a bigger laddie. He playing through the middle tonight. Was he like a target man option? Is that what we're looking for from him? He does win headers. But he
certainly doesn't look to shoot very often.
He did against Hibs. Christ. I'm not 100% sure what his role in the team is quite as of yet, and it's weird that this early in the season we're already really reliant on one winger, which is Josh Ginnelly, who's injured.
Yeah, which brings us to the final rung here, and you and I have expressed our love for the manager on many occasions, but Robbie Neilson was really quite exposed tonight. You touched on it earlier, but yes, injuries have played their part in the selection of the 11 tonight, but you come into this game knowing that you have one winger who is not particularly good, and it felt like square pegs were being battered into round holes all over the pitch. Should he have had a different approach? Should he have tried something else to get the best out of the players that we did actually have on the pitch?
I'm not going to make a passion defence of Robbie Neilson because he did get it wrong tonight, but bashing square pegs into round holes I disagree with. You've got Craig Whiting, but who else was out of position in that team?
Arguably Naismith.
No, no. It's a position that he's played bags and bags and bags of times for Hearts, let alone for anyone else, playing in the sort of number 10 position. The only player that was out of position really was Craig Whiting, and even then, he's played there a bunch of times this season.
Okay, not well though, not effectively.
Not massively, no. It's more the plan B thing, and what he tried to do to change the game didn't really work. We were certainly better in the last 15-20 minutes of the game when Dunfermline sat deeper and deeper and allowed us to come onto them a little bit. That's when we got the goal. But yeah, sort of moving, last throw of the dice was moving Andy Halliday to left wing back, for example, and sort of totally changing the shape of the team. Start of the second half, he did put Whiting up front with Boyce, but he didn't play Naismith behind him, which again, that's kind of the key.
Yeah.
For me, he didn't make the change for Ollie Lee quickly enough. But I think that the players certainly more than played their part tonight in how they performed and how they were a yard off it, and just didn't look particularly sharp. Everything was really slow. So I think it's joint responsibility for this one, whereby the players didn't perform, but Neilson didn't change it quickly enough either.
Sure thing. Ironically, I do think wing-backs are one of the ways that potentially we could unlock the team in the absence of Ginnelly. Because you're talking about that front two with Naismith as the 10 behind them. So that either has to be a 4-4-2 diamond, which we have tried, or a classic 3-5-2. And getting the width from wing backs. Now, you could argue, is Kingsley mobile enough to do left wing back when he's coming back from trying to regain fitness? Would your right wing back be Michael Smith, or would you prefer him to be in the back three because he's the most reliable centre half we have fit at the moment after Popescu and Halkett? You know, would you be wanting to put Berra into a back three again? Not after the adventures in the Premiership last season, I would suggest. No. Suter's obviously not fit. Who else goes in there? Well, possibly Haring, but you know, is he fit enough to do it? I don't deny that there are issues, but this is the squad that was built specifically for this season. And again, it might well be that once the players have enough games in their legs, it's all going to be plain sailing and everything will be fine. But these are the issues that we have right now and the issues that need to be addressed.
Dunfermline have had less games in their legs and they bodied us off the pitch today. Dunfermline have played less games than Hearts since coming back to professional training.
Yes, but they're younger and fitter and don't have the injury record that our players have.
Do you know that for a fact?
Well, for the way they were running today, I mean, it certainly suggests that.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure that completely holds up.
Okay.
We've played. I would say that we have played enough games now. We've played a fucking ton of games actually, since the players came back. So, I'm not 100% sure that's an excuse.
So what you think the likes of Halliday and Naismith should be up to speed by now?
As much as the likes of Declan McManus and all these guys should be up to speed. Yeah, because they've probably played the same number of games.
You don't think lack of pre-season for the likes of Kingsley and Halliday should factor in there?
I don't. Kingsley's not a part of any conversation just now. Kingsley's been great and continues to be great, and he was probably our better performer today as well, and he got the goal. I think with Halliday, you could probably argue that in terms of pre-season. Naismith got a lot of pre-season. Only really the players that didn't were Halliday and Berra. Who didn't get as much. Stephen Kingsley just seems to be natural at whatever the fuck he does. You're asking the question about left wing back. I think he'd piss left wing back. I think he'd be absolutely great at it. I think he'd play centre forward. He's one of those players that's just very good at football, and you can trust him wherever you put him. He's probably, in terms of what you're saying about Michael Smith, one of our better probably our best centre half as well.
Yeah.
Him and Halkett. So yeah, I just don't know if we can use the excuse, to be honest, of like, they're getting games in their legs, because we've had more games in our legs than anyone else in the division. Fair
play. We don't have the answers. Let's hope Robbie Nielsen does.
Heck
yeah. So, that about wraps it up for this show, because, listener, if you think anyone deserved the songs, I thoroughly fucking disagree with you.
Yeah, absolutely not. Is booing a song? Boo! I've missed that.
Here's the songs for Elliot Freer.
Boo! Off the fucking pitch, you.
That's really good, Rod. Great effort.
Thank you.
You win this week.
Excellent.
Can we bring ourselves to do a beef report on Alloa Athletic, the Wasps who play at the Interdale Stadium near the Bridge of Allen?
So, usually, so I as part of my role on like the Terrace podcast and the TV show, it's all about talking up Scottish football. So I always find this quite hard. Like, for example, I fucking love their like jacked up steroid Wasp on their badge. For example, he's fucking great.
He is tremendous.
You wouldn't fight him. What is there to dislike about Alloa Athletic? They're part time.
the fools.
I'm just going to write them off facts now. They've got very little seats in their stadium.
Is there a KFC very near the stadium? Visible from the camera?
Overlooking. Yeah.
I
love KFC though.
Overshadowed by KFC though? Is that a position you want to be in?
Oh, I'm not sure. No.
The fools.
There you go. I don't like their kit. I don't like gold and black hoops.
Oh, okay.
I'm just not a fan of it. I just don't think it's a thing that should happen.
But it's what makes them the Wasps, and without it you wouldn't have roided up Wasp.
The jacked up Wasp. Yeah. If they were just black, they'd be like flies.
Yeah, think about it.
No. I won't. Play. What else about them?
Do you think if they had stripes, would they be the humbugs?
I hope so. We'll never know.
We'll never know. They taste minty with a licorice centre.
Sounds about right. Alloa, nah, can't think of anything else.
Great. Well, hopefully we think of something for next week's podcast, and we played them twice.
Yes. Oh God, aye, twice in the space of 5 days, both at the end of drill, I believe.
The fixture computer has really given us something to chew on there.
Yeah, I went to Recreation Park, as it was at the time, in 2006 or 7, and Juho Mäkelä scored. No, wait. Yes, Juho Mäkelä scored a hat trick, and wow. Bruno Aguiar scored a delightful little lob to make it 4-0. I think Takis Fisas was captain that night, and obviously thinking about the era that we're talking about here. The stadium announcer just completely gave up trying to say the names, and I think the name that he gave up on was like Ibrahim Tal. It's like, that's a really easy one, man. Like, I think he maybe just looked further down the list, and Mäkelä scoring each time. He was like, goal scorer for Hearts, the big blonde laddie up front. And I got absolutely battered by hailstones because there was no cover from the elements in Alloa. So
no cover from the elements.
Arseholes. Arseholes.
Well, let's park that and see what we can come up with next week.
Yes.
You know, we're on the internet. Steve Crawford.
Ah, yes, indeed, it's fun time.
Gute Flanke von Hemmel. Achtung, die Schotten im Strafraum drin. 2:1 für. Was für ein Weihnachtsgeschenk. Robbie Nilsson.
How was it difficult? What's difficult? We just got to beat them again, don't we?
Yeah,